And it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to start it off here on 2000 Atmospheres, as it usually goes, for our 333 Alpha Pro Series here in the top right hand corner for Shopify Rebellion. It's a blue Terran, Byun. His opponent in the red in the opposite corner, playing for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, the man, the legend himself, former world champion, makes a noise for Rogue. Going for a little bit of a proxy scouting pattern. His other overload a little bit, well, not really. His other overload going for some proxy scouting as well, sending even a drone out. Definitely not gonna try to do anything fishy with it. It's mostly just to be sure nothing weird happens, and of course taking control of the watchtower. I see we can sneak through here, and probably Rogue is gonna be content with this, seeing that there's absolutely no proxy. Both players recently eliminated in GSL. Both got third place in the 5th match of their respective groups. Rogue got a little bit of an unlucky run, falling 2-0 to Hero. And then losing the mirror to DRG 2-0. While Byun was eliminated by Su, out of all people, 2-1. Very good series as well. Highly recommend it. But anyhow, both players looking for blood, looking for vengeance in these Alpha Pro series. The stakes are not as high, but of course you want to get something after your run in the most important tournament around nowadays. It's over, at least in Korea, of course. Six lanes for Rogue to try and get some amount of map control, trying to, of course, dance with the Reaper as always. While Byun on the other side of the map, what do we have here? Nothing too weird. As of now, just a Reaper expand, Marine after. Nothing really significant is happening on both sides. And I see the usual battle for the Quick Tumor. But there's 2 queens on this low ground right now, so it's not gonna be a problem. A little bit too forward is that overload. Gonna take some beating before. Oh, wait a second. This is a classic Byun build. Earlier, third command center before starport. Still gonna be a 1-1-1. But of course, you're gonna grid it out a little bit. She's always an interesting choice in these particular matchups, especially since Rogue lately has been playing very greedily. Very tech intensive, trying to rush tech a lot. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Byun doesn't look like he wants to shut down his opponent early on. Well, maybe he does want to do that, but not as early as it usually goes. More like a timing attack later on. With 3 command centers to support his economy. Well, not gonna have the easiest time getting into the mineral line. A little bit of a micro control inside of Rogue to keep his drones alive. He keeps all of them alive, which is quite impressive. The volley boost just now completed. Steam just now started. So Viking first to hunt some overloads down, while a Liberator will be started immediately after to try and put some amount of pressure onto the mineral lines of Rogue. One of the lanes will get a little bit of a scouting. We'll see there's 6 aliens out there right now. The overload, of course, will go down. Taking a little bit of a supply block for Rogue. 3 more overloads incoming. Grid spread looking decent. Nothing amazing. Ooh, just in time. This could have been a little bit of a disaster for Rogue, by the way. Luckily, he's a good little link, got a good scouting information, and managed to front the block with the 2 Evo chambers. And it's not getting forward more than this. There's no armory, so no helmets. Now with double Evo Chamber against double NG Bay, the tech race can officially start. We're gonna see Melee and Carapace. With, of course, a higher priority on Carapace due to how Rogue really likes going to Hydras and Lurkers in the later stages. Still no Binling Nest, by the way. We see the lair started. It should be like, well, it's not that late. It will still get it started. Then he's getting his team done. Doesn't really have a lot of Marines out, but he's getting to a comfortable number. And he's adding 2 more Wrecks, to a total of 5. To start producing something out of them a little bit quicker. And start getting some more pressure on the map. Start getting a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, now the Binling Nest gets late though. Now it's usually the moment in which you want to have the Binling Nest. You want to start those centrifugal hooks as soon as possible. Without it, like, they're not really good. Let's keep it at that. At least off creep. The Liberator is probably gonna, yeah. It took 2 drones, 3 drones actually, before falling down. Yeah, Lens will try to do something. Infestation Pit and Hydra Den at the same time? At 6:30? Well, I was talking about tech rushes, but this is a little bit too much. No Binling Nest, straight into early Infestation Pit and Hydra Den. Probably gonna get missile attack started as soon as possible as well, and just keep Carapace a little bit higher as I was saying before, but this is a huge rush. Of course, working with only Lings for such a long time, it's definitely a very complicated thing to do. We're trying to double expand to at least keep one of the 2 archeries healthy enough. There's a lot of queens on the low run. Yes, a couple crit teamers will go down, but in the end Rogue will still be able to take control of the icon. Breaking down those rocks might actually hurt Rogue more than it does help him. Yes, you want to get some counterattacks, but you want to keep the reinforcement route for Byun a little bit shorter. Because otherwise, like, Byun is gonna send a stream of units through the map without really too much downtime. And that's definitely not what you want. You want to keep some amount of benefit advantage. You're not gonna lose just 1 Marine to this. Of course, it's just lanes, it's not Balins. You can be a little bit careless. And you can see Rogue not really winning these fights as well. He's +1/+1 against +1/+1. The first few Hydras are gonna join the field. Oops, sorry. But, oh, there's a Hive already on the way? I completely missed that. This is such a rush from Rogue. Lurker then is completed. He's getting +2 melee for some reason. Probably wants to get Adrenaline Rush as soon as possible. But yeah, Rena is on high tech. Doesn't have a single Viper. He has a Lurker then out. It hasn't started. Like, this is such an insane rush. You can see these Marines and Elbots absolutely melting through the army of Rogue. It's not looking really close, but on the other side of the map, these lanes got into a bloodbath. So many SCVs falling down. The reinforcements of Byun completely locked out on the other side of the map. Of course, Marine and Elbots gonna make short work of these archery, and probably quite a lot of drones will die as well, but 24 SCVs, that's far too many, Byun. One major weaknesses of the defense, one of the major weaknesses of the defense of Byun has been exploited. These 2 Evo Chambers are very exposed, these Lurkers a little bit too behind. It does feel like this Evo Chamber is way too exposed, and it looks like Byun wants to dive on top of that. It's gonna be a denied Carapace. Oh my god, for a second I thought he wouldn't get it, but yes, he's gonna deny Carapace too. And as I was saying before, this is one of the most important upgrades of the bunch. Muscular Augments and Seismic Spikes on the way for Rogue right now. Yes, these Lurkers are gonna be upgraded, but they have +0 attack right now. And just +1 Carapace, and tanks are already on the field. Ghost Economies happening as well. Rogue is in a decent spot. He has a much stronger economy right now. Well, not much stronger. He has a stronger economy though. But Byun has matched his opponent bases, is on 4 now himself. He has a planetary starting to saturate his base as well after losing so many workers. And upgrades are definitely in favor of Byun. He's gonna have +3/+3 before Rogue can even have +1/+2, I think. +2 garbage is gonna be started, but missile attack just 1 is not even halfway through. Seismic Spines is completed, and it's time for Adaptive Talents. And I don't feel like links that do not have Adrenaline Rush, which is quite a bummer. You have +2 for these links, but you don't have Adrenaline Rush. So a little bit of all over the place of a build for Rogue. You want to get a timing going right now before Ghosts become online, because you don't have anything against Ghosts, anything at all. I guess you do have links, but what if they retreat in the choke point? Without Bailings, there's not really a way to counter that. And Byun is moving southward to try and deny this base, but Rogue has a full lurker army over here. How many lurkers is this? 90 lurkers? Yeah, this planetary is going down. I don't really see a way to defend it. The SCVs are gonna desperately try to repair it. So many lurkers are falling down. This Liberator is absolute MVP over here. 6 kills. Most of them being lurkers, but over here Byun scheming in a natural, trying to fight back. 19 SCVs have been killed, but with far less expense, Byun is gonna completely wreak havoc in the natural of Rogue and still collect most of his marines to leave and fight another day. On the other side, it looks like lurkers are still not done. They want to intercept as many SCVs as possible. They do not intercept them, just 5 of them die. Ghosts are up now though, and they will start to get some snipes, while the tank will drop a scan. The tank will drop his shells after a scan. Goes chasing down these lurkers. So many lurkers have died for Rogue. No Viper yet. Only 3 started now. 10 lurkers down. And lurkers are basically everything Rogue has. He doesn't have anything else. Lurker then is also quite exposed. Like, Rogue must be really threatened. He's gonna keep quite a lot of units over here to try and defend this Lurker then, because losing that would be an absolute disaster. The Lurker then takes way too much time to be finished, and you always need to remember these 2 medivacs are there to cause you problems. Yes, they could cause problems in the natural, kill quite some drones. It's not too many drones. It's not such an important base. Still not the best thing, but not too important. But yeah, like tech structures are really, really important. These are just turning into lurkers? I don't know. But it's moving forward yet again. There's 1 missile turret over here, meaning that tanks can easily shell. A couple SCVs are gonna fall down at cost of 1 single lurker. Then he's gonna move his Ghost Intense army around to try and deal with the lurkers. But in the meanwhile, Nidus network will be started. Of course, the Nidus in the main with either links, and by the way, do not have Adrenaline Rush yet, which is most likely something Rogue forgot. Or even just the lurkers inside the main base on top of the production. Lurkers can melt through structures at the speed of sound. I would expect Rogue to try and do something like that. Seers and lurkers sieging alike, but these lurkers are really getting much, and they're gonna fall down very, very quickly. Not the best attack out of Rogue. The Overseers both die to this Knight, meaning no Nidus in the main will go up yet. Is there something in the Nidus? There's nothing in it. We shall keep close attention to whatever fits inside that Nidus. What forces Rogue decides to spare to try and threaten the production of his opponent. Lurkers can be extremely dangerous if they can dive in between your army lines and get in choke points like rents to the main. It looks like yeah, 1 Nidus will go up over here, but the Nidus network is empty. So it does look like Rogue just wants to pull part of the army of Byun away. It's not really pulling too much. Rogue has set up a concave over here on the left side of the map, where most of the army of Byun is stationed, by the way. But there's so many ghosts out right now, like 18 ghosts against 14 lurkers. There's more snipes than lurkers. And yes, you need 2 snipes to kill lurkers, but yeah, look at this. Overseers are gonna try to trap as many ghosts as possible, and actually quite a lot of them will die. But the snipes are crazy, the EMP is even better on top of both Overseers and Vipers. And It doesn't look like most of the lurkers have made it out alive. In the end, 7 Hydras, 30 Lings. Those do not do that well against Lings, and there's only 2 tanks on the ground. The last 3 Carapace and still no Adrenaline Glands. This is not good, and let's remember there's no Baneling Nest. So if... oh, nice. And this one going on here on the right side. What's in the network? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't know about that, by the way. Yes, you want to keep those as a way to move your army around. Maybe drop a Nidus over here to have your... or over here to have your army position. But these empty Nidus is spread on the map. They're just not really useful. The scanning gets used preemptively, but most of the ghosts are gonna just be collected into the medvac. Not a good fight by Byun over here, losing much of his army basically for nothing. For a couple lurkers, and let's see it over here. Another counterattack from Rogue. Let's get a couple tanks, and it's gonna take quite a lot. Adrenaline Glands finally started on the spawning pool. It's a little bit too late for that, maybe. Yeah, these Nidus one will go down without ever sending any units in, and it's actually funny, Rogue decided to go for a counterattack over here, but did not use the Nidus. Overseer is trying to take the high ground to keep these ghosts in touch. But overall, the Lurker Concave forces his enemy back. Beautiful Abducts, gonna get a tank and a ghost. Oh, so many Abducts at once, so many ghosts falling down, and so does the Liberator, which survives. Beautiful play overall by Rogue. Byun is starting to feel really threatened, even though the army composition in Rogue is no good, and he cannot really trade his army that he loses. As you can see, his bank is not really growing. He's killing more SCVs, he's killing more key army components. Only 8 ghosts are left out, but there's 9 tanks in his army. These lurkers are in a little bit of a bad spot. They're not really in a concave. It does feel like Byun is ready to dive. On top of that, the command center will go down, will be cancelled. But the orbital command will cancel. The command center will go down. Snipes going on top of these lurkers before they can escape. And their positioning will come to bite them in the back. Missile attack +3 is in the making. Adrenaline Glands. It's about to be finished. Byun is pushing through on creep without a really strong army. Still has a lot of tanks though, and with these Liberator up in the sky, it's gonna be complicated for Rogue to trade efficiently. He might win the fights, but efficiency is another thing. 4 Vipers in the skies are gonna be the key components. With a bit of a spread of units. Beautiful blinding clouds are gonna stop these tanks from doing too much, but the pre-spread, the positioning of the tanks was perfect. You can see these Vipers falling down without actually doing too much. The lurkers off position, not really in the concave, and he's sniped down to death. Byun, sweet maneuvers, sweet fight, beautiful spread of units. He's gonna kill every single lurker left standing. Only 1 Viper is up in the skies, and now he's pushing forward. The steel tanks behind this to help retreat if it comes to that. And you can see Rogue dropping down a Baneling Nest just now. It's far too late, my dear friend. It does look like these Lings are trying their best to keep up, to put up a fight, but there's so much energy inside of these medivacs. They're gonna heal those units back to full for such a long time. Byun is gonna lose something over here. Rogue is pushing forward. These Vipers are not really healthy, but they can drop down a couple of ducks on some key units, and here they come. You can see these ducks going, killing units after units. The Vikings on the ground gonna use their bonus damage against armored units to try and deal damage to these lurkers. But it's Marauders and Marines which are gonna call it a day. And in the end, Byun ends up on top of this trade, but what a mess this game is. Really shaky on both sides. Both of them don't really enjoy probably the state of the game. Both of them losing so many units. In these low eco, low army supply count situations, Terran definitely shines though, and the Lurker was sniped? Oh my goodness, the Lurker was sniped. That is something. That is one going up on the right side. None of that quick is still empty, by the way. It does look like a little bit of a waste of resources. It's not like Rogue can spare that Bastion. Oh, that gets used! The Medivac actually survives. The same cannot be said for that one tank. The Banelings are not fast, they would not get on top of those ghosts. The Overseer goes down, meaning that these ghosts have free real estate. They're going on top of these Hydras freely, dropping down shot upon shot with their sniper rifles. They're even uncloaked right now, only one of them will fall. Byun takes another favorable trade. Rogue is running out of supply, running out of larva, running out of resources, running out of mining bases. He's gonna try to take this position on the bottom right, using this Nidusworm probably as a tool to move his army around. It's complicated for Byun to attack into the spot, I'm not going to lie, especially with these low supply armies. But you can see Byun trying to run away with the prize. 10 more workers, almost double the army supply. And even though he doesn't really have the bank that Rogue is building up, Rogue is finding himself unable to spend that Vespene geyser. Vespene gas. Mostly leans are gonna be used, that's what the larva is going to be used into. There's no more Hydras on the field, no more lurkers. A couple Hydras are gonna be started, but it does feel like Rogue wants to play with Banelings now. Which, it does feel like it's the right call, but Byun is almost maxed out, he's really good upgraded. And of course he has a lot of ground he can retreat into if he desires to do that with 2 planetaries. Oh, actually he's an orbital. He's also an orbital. Only 1 planetary, but of course the main point of contention is going to be over here in the bottom right. Top left there's 1 base out of Rogue, but it's easily going to be denied. There's no real army over here. Like, yes, there's a couple Banelings and lanes. Most of the forces of Rogue are stationed over here on the right side. Does look like, in fact, Rogue decides to not bother and saving this base. And, oops. And, of course, try to just keep up over here in the bottom right, which is, I don't know about that. There's probably gonna be one big fight happening over here, but yeah, the forces of Byun are just that much superior. Rogue has his army divided in 2 different locations. I don't know about that. Tanks pushing through. These bases are not really even mining anymore. There was 1 liberator to stop everything. Yes, Rogue will just stop out, and Byun takes game number 1 of the series. It's time for our second set. It's a very long game number 1. Gonna see how these 2 guys will answer to whatever happened here in the top right hand corner of Glittering Ashes. Playing for Shopify Rebellion, leading the series. Blue Terran is currently spawning, makes a noise for Byun. His opponent in the red, playing for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Can he get the equalizer right now? Or will the momentum keep going on his opponent's side? It's a Rogue. Not really going for the proxy scouting pattern we've seen before. I don't know where these overload was sent to, but yeah, not in the right side it looks. Well, yes, but oh, just seeding over here. Oh, it's a spawning pool first, so a 16 pool. So it makes sense you're not really as scared of proxies. Gonna have a natural counter to it. It's always a good option to avoid really being too afraid of proxies. You go 16 pool, your main build is not gonna be that much slowdown. Especially on a map such as Glittering Ashes, which, yes, getting aggression going is not the hardest, rush distance is not the biggest, still a pretty wide map. You can't be really that sure you're gonna scout for proxies, so better safe than sorry, and then you're just gonna roll with it. 6 lanes, of course, are gonna try to get something done, get some scouting, force the Reaver back, all that kind of stuff. Maybe even force a lift out of the command center. I don't know about that. There's a Marine first. So yeah, maybe a lift from the command center will occur. Factory is incoming. We're gonna see a reactor starting. Well, not really that easily. Well, not easily, that soon, I meant. Oh well. I was correct. No need to correct myself. Yeah, no way getting through that wall. This one little SCB will run for its life wherever possible. The orbital command will most likely finish, but you cannot really get anything going from this one. Yeah, it's just gonna be lifted and put into a corner where the Marine can shoot towards these Zerglings. These SCV is still being chased around, by the way. I don't know how it's still alive. It's basically going for a scout. Yeah, there's a Queen over here, so this guy is even more dead. It's gonna take a while, but it's not gonna survive. The command center is getting back into position, probably waiting for, yeah, Hellions and Marines to join the low ground. Well, behind this Rogue will... Oh! No way. Yeah, that one SCV actually survived. Oh no. What an anticlimactic end. It's a beautiful story. In the end, the one SCV will die. Oh, the alien wants to avenge it though. I will not find the link. A bit of a different build this time from Byun. No early Fair Command Center. Of course, his mining on the low ground was stopped for a little while. Very good scouting on the side of Rogue. Seeing whatever is happening, seeing 6 Marines will already prompt him into knowing he's going to be some kind of early drop. I've seen not a lot of aliens. Tech lab next to the factory. Is this going to be an armory soon? Definitely a possibility. We have Banshee Cloak, we have more aliens in production for the reactor. There's a little bit of a supply block from Rogue. Well, 2 more overloads are incoming, so yeah, not real big deal. There's 1 Medivac out and then straight into Banshee product. Yeah, here comes the armory. This is definitely going to be some kind of Elba shenanigans, I think. These Medivac definitely need to stay alive, but put up some pressure with just the Marines. Yeah, maybe killing an overload or 2 is decent. His Marine will barely survive, but it will still survive. Probably Byun will try to go into the main, which is also well defended. The 16 pool, of course, give you the opportunity to get your defensive units a little bit weaker on. The Queen will try to push down the Medivac, which is forced to collect all of those Marines and fly away. The Banshee will be scouted immediately by the Isling. Very good play so far by Rogue. Able to put pressure with 16 pool, which is notoriously a defensive build, being able to scout everything that is going and defend really proficiently against all the attempts of Byun at stopping the Zerg on its tracks. Here in the middle, it does look like Byun wants to push through, and here comes the Albats, morphing right under the watchful eyes of that one dead overload. This archery is gonna be under attack, but there's so many queens out. Yeah, you don't want to fight in the choke point. Albats are gonna absolutely smash you if you do that. I know I say this every single time. If you watch my cast, you know how much I just despise this build. It does really feel like Elbat timing are just never doing anything. I don't want to sound like Artosis, but I do agree with the statement, very much so. Like, these kind of pushes, they're either too late to actually deal damage, or you can do them early, but you're just not gonna do too much damage for the amount of commitment you have to put to do them that early. I feel like this archery cancel is something. I mean, but Byun is not even on free basis himself. Yes, he has an orbital command on going over here in the main. By the way, these are 5 ranks. So Byun definitely wants to play very, very aggressive. Making use of those aliens, though, is gonna be a real nightmare. Especially once Rogue has Banelings out. This is again a lair without a Baneling nest. There's an Overseer incoming to try and leave this Banshee away, which is getting a couple drone kills. Gonna get to a total of 3, 4 actually, even before this Overseer is done. Well, now it is done, but the Banshee will safely fly away. There's one thing over here to spot the fur base of Byun going down, and it's going down. It's again Infestation Pit Lurker, then at the same time, this is definitely not the game to go for that. The scouting of Rogue has been impeccable so far, showing the end of Byun being super aggressive, showing a very late command center, meaning that most likely Byun was working on a heavy Rex behind this. These upgrades are gonna be a little bit late, but you can see the army supply of Byun is not a joke. That's a lot of Marines. Might not have a lot of Medivacs, might not have a lot of tanks, but those are gonna be a lot of Marines. Is combat shields down, by the way? I don't think it is. No, it isn't. Of course, the tech lab was used for the Banshee. Right now, +1/+1 is finished. Rogue does have +1/+1 inside, but the tanks are gonna drop down an immediate shell over these army. There's really nothing in the way of defense, just lanes. This fourth base is gonna be sacked. There's another base over here. You need a double expand. But the Banshee was able to slow this down at least by a fair bit. Byun is super content. He didn't take a single fight and he's gonna get 2 archeries for his efforts. Well, he's gonna lose 1 Marine, but that barely even matters. The Marines are gonna try to get a surround over these tanks. They're gonna get both of the tanks, but the price was a little bit too high, I think. There are a lot of dead lanes to kill 2 tanks. And of course, Byun has steal these out, but the hive is almost finished. The lurker then is almost finished as well. +1 missile this time started a little bit earlier. More lanes being started. And the lurkers are already on the field. There's not a lot of tanks with this army for Byun, and these Marines are most likely not going to be that great alone against the lurkers. But Rogue is super pinned on his own side of the map. This archery is such a huge point of contention. Needs to keep that alive. You cannot lose that. You dare not lose that. Marines are gonna try to get into a choke point. I don't know about that, especially against lurkers. The split, the concave, everything is perfect for Byun. Rogue has a good concave himself. These queens are gonna do their best to try and keep themselves alive. Try to keep the lurkers alive. And the lurkers, real MVPs, their splash damage is not a joke. They do not mess around, but the concave is so good that Byun almost trades efficiently for himself. In the end, the trade is still going to be pretty much even. These 2 lurkers, oh my god, another shot? Yes. It's 3 lurkers left alive. Actually, only 1. This tank has tank kills. The Medivacs will fly away, but the reinforcements of Byun have already joined the field over here. Seismic Spines is incoming, but I don't see many lurkers on the field right now for Rogue. 3 more are gonna be morphed. But it's just again mostly links, there's no building nest. And again, I don't see this being the masterpiece of Rogue. 3 more racks, bringing the count to 8, as well as a second factory to try and get a couple more tanks on the field. Of course, these links are gonna try to cut off some reinforcements, but they're not gonna cut out much. But Byun, meanwhile, cutting through the defenses of Rogue like butter and getting into this mineral line, forcing most of the drones out of here. In the end, Seismic Spines is finished. Adaptive Talents will be started, but I don't see Rogue having the economy to support this kind of build. The spawning pool is gonna be threatened right now. This is not where you want to fight as a Rogue. This is a little bit of a choke point. The Dragon Glance is gonna be started. The Hydras are at least gonna take care of the Medivacs. No more energy. These Marines are most likely not gonna win this fight, but they're gonna fight like hell to try and achieve that. Medivac is going down, but Byun takes another favorable trade. And is ready to send more units in. There's 5 lurkers. This time Rogue doesn't want to make the same mistake. He's defending his Evo chambers. But Byun's production is getting through the roof. And the economy of Rogue is still really struggling. His army composition is not a cheap one. You need a very good economy to support it. Again, it's a Nidus network. Last game, Nidus Born did absolutely nothing. Byun definitely needs to be careful around those, but he's in a pretty much again a dream situation. Stronger economy, stronger army, better upgrades, better tech. To be completely honest, there's no bailiness with this. Let's remember that. And of course, Byun can easily blindside his opponent on a map such as Gleaming Ashes by just dropping left and right. Especially with Rogue unable to go for the linear pattern to defend his bases more easily. He's on a triangular way, so it's gonna be way harder to move his units behind between his bases. So we're gonna try to take a fight over here in the middle. Byun breaking down the rocks to ensure his reinforcements join the other side of the map a little bit quicker. There's a lot of tanks with his army, there's a lot of marines, and there's a drop incoming over here in the natural, which is honestly gonna be a little bit of a mess to deal with. Lurkers are getting into position, but over here, most of the army of Byun is already getting into the spot Byun wants it to be. Lings are gonna try to go for a counter-attack. This one single tank is gonna do wonders. Lots of SCVs I feel like are going to die. Byun really retreat with the army. No, he decides to defend only with defender's advantage with these reinforcements. Dropping coming into the main to try and move some of the units away. The Lurker walking in a little bit of no man's land. Gonna be found out in the open by the Marines. A scan and a steam forward, and the Marines even climbing the ramp in a choke point. They're gonna absolutely smash through the fight. Byun wins 3 fights, and Byun wins the game. Still gonna try and scout for proxies. Moving over to the left and right. Looking for corners. Sometimes Terran players like to proxy in this location. But yeah, it's over here where you're gonna see the Rex most of the times. Sometimes even like 2 here and 3 in the corner. Terrans like to do this as well. But in the end, none of these mentioned things will happen with Byun. Just sticking to a Reaper expand. Of course, once you see these SCV moving at this late of a stage, you always know it's not gonna be a proxy. And the overlords are gonna react accordingly. Rogue actually sending one overlord into the main, not gonna care for much else. Unsure why is that the case, but doubt it's for the Nidus guys. Like Rogue not really, as you've seen in the past 2 games, not really a Nidus worm guy. He puts them down and they're empty, so better not put them down at all. Reaper will just try to be annoying. It always happens. So actually risking it a little bit too much. Barely escapes. Rogue with the Kalash opener. Gonna have his overlords, his third overlord slightly later on. Metabolic boost is also gonna be slightly later on, but he's gonna be earlier third archery. Not gonna be threatened by the Reaper, and of course, it's gonna have more drones to work with in the early game. Metabolic boost is gonna be later, but it's not gonna be late. You're always gonna have it exactly when you need it. And yeah, Rogue did see this. He did see the third command center this early. When it's this early, you know it's before the starport. Are we gonna see attack lab started over here to get some Banshees out? Something that it's really good against these kind of builds, especially against Byun, it's a Spire play. So looking forward for Ro to switch it out. Like, let's be honest, that Lurker Rush build is not doing wonders for him. So I will much prefer for him to go into Mutas, especially since he's very good with them, very aggressive. But we will see. For now, the main threat for Rogue is that Banshee play. And I don't really see many links spread around to try and look for information or stop something on their tracks. You can see right now Metabolic Boost is gonna be late, but it's gonna be finished right now. So you're never gonna see many aliens hit at before the 4 minutes. You can see 4 of them being out right now, it's 4:10. Metabolic Boost is done. You don't need it earlier than this. Unless you're getting proxied, rushed in some shape or form, but most of the times your MVPs in those kind of defenses are queens. It's definitely not gonna do with lings. Lings are mostly used just to cut off reinforcements or stuff such as that. When the queens are the real deal of the defense. Aliens do not manage to sneak past the mineral line, as you've seen Rogue pulling his drones to the leftmost mineral patch. Lings are gonna be started to be spread around to look for move-outs out of Byun's base, which are happening honestly on the left side. The Banshee's not out yet, but there's another Ling getting into position. There's no wall with this. This Ling will get a very good scouting. We'll also see the Banshee, which gets its finishing shot. On top of that, one poor Ling died for a greater cause. Double Evo Chamber pop down. The lair is halfway through. I want to see a Baneling Nest this time. I don't want to see that Infestation Pit Hydra Den shenanigan we've seen so far. I want to see Centrifugal Hooks. Yes, it's a Baneling Nest indeed. And Rogue is taking 6 Vespene Geysers. This is definitely going to be a Spire play. I do love this out of Rogue. Finally switching it out. Finally getting the strong counter to what Byun is doing. Especially this bench is not gonna have an easy time. Gonna try to look for some damage, at least get some scouting information. The Spire is not on the field yet. So no real way of scouting. There's already an Overseer out. These benches are gonna take quite some punishment before flying away. Is there an armory? No, these are just straight aliens. But here comes the Spire. Beautiful, beautiful play by Rogue this time. The strategy makes a lot more sense. It almost looks like a counter to what Byun is doing. And Byun really unable to put up any pressure whatsoever. He's trying to pressure this 4th base over here. Didn't really get a lot of scouting information. Didn't see the Vespene Geyser count. Like, these benches are desperately trying to look for blood, but they haven't killed a single drone. All they killed was 1 link. Maybe this actually is a little bit exposed, but even then there's quite a lot of quick spread with this by Rogue. Actually, beautiful quick spread so far. And Queens can easily move in between bases to defend if the need arises. Tanks are gonna be added in the mix, but tanks don't shoot up. And with the Lean Bane Muta, he tends to become a problem. Equip is not connected over here. It does look like the benches are not caring for the 1H. Oh well. They do carry in the end. Yeah, but Creep Spread has connected these bases now. There's an Overseer, there's 3 Queens. Actually, these benches are in some danger beyond not pulling out of here. And he's gonna lose 1 Banshee for his mistakes. 10 Mutas incoming, as well as +1/+1 on the ground. Centrifugals just been finished. +1 Flyer started as well. Flyer attack, of course. And Byun is trying to get in position to get something going over here. But again, the quick spread is just crazy. He's gonna see whatever movements Byun tries to make on the high ground. The tanks are in a very good position. It's gonna be very complicated to get over there. Especially with there's no rocks over there. Sorry, my bad. He's actually under threat, but there's so many buildings, so many lanes, so many mutas. The scan is gonna see the mutas, meaning the missile turrets are gonna be popped in between the bases of Byun. But here comes the big push. Here goes the buildings through the middle of these. The tanks go down immediately. The mutas chasing down the medivacs, and it's a disaster for Byun. These mutas still chasing the medivacs around. There's not a lot of missile turreting behind this. You just need to be careful. There's still a lot of marines, but there's so many buildings ready to roll through. Byun, where are your splits? They're pretty dang good, but not good enough. It seems he's still gonna lose so many marines. 1 more building, 1 more connection. There's just 1 tank with these. More marines are gonna be used for the defense. More medivacs are gonna pop out to try and keep it alive. The Banshee is doing its best, but it's gonna go down. Now lanes fighting against SCVs, and the mutas are getting in the natural. The missile turrets are in very awkward spots. Yes, they're defending the Vespene Geysers, but they're not really defending the SCVs. It doesn't look like there's much more in the way of offense for Rogue, but these mutas are just really getting damage everywhere they go. There's no missile turret in the main. So many SCVs are gonna go down. Defender's advantage, not kicking in fast enough. These mutas almost one-shotting the marines. There's no Viking in the sky. There's no missile turret over here. And the mutas wreak havoc. Meanwhile, in the 3rd, so many links getting on the mineral line. That Widowman killed more SCV than Zerglings. Byun is gonna top out. Rogue puts his first score on the board. Here we have in the bottom right-hand corner, playing for Shopify Rebellion. Micro Jackson himself makes a noise for Byun. His opponent in the red, in the top left-hand corner instead, playing for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Already put his first point on the scoreboard, and he put it too, and get the equalizer. It is Rogue. Oof. This is gonna be a rough one. A 2 Rex proxy over here against a 16 pool. Oh, not even a 16 pool, probably was like a 14 pool. Which is even better against proxies. Like, honestly, it does feel like Rogue has already something in mind in itself. Like, this is not a 16 pool, so it's an even earlier one. And yeah, here we have just a standard 2 Rex proxy. It's not something too major, but you need to get an SCV up the ramp, and if there are already leans, possibly even a queen out, it's not gonna happen. You're not gonna walk up that ramp. And yeah, this overload is also gonna just immediately scout it, I think. Or not. It's just gonna stop. The SCV was also trapped for a little bit, meaning the first marine is gonna be a little bit later. The overload will see the SCVs moving, but yeah, they're already lanes out. Rogue actually hiding a couple of his lanes. But yeah, over here, you can see Byun just waiting a little bit before... Oh my god, it's a Roach Warren? This is gonna be hell for Byun. I don't think he can get a Cyclone out. So, countering the Ravagers is gonna be very complicated. He's still supporting a double Marine army. Can he get a bunker at least on the up? Like, oh, there's already one lean getting some scouting. Probably gonna slow down the factory even. Like, yeah, not really. There's already Marines back home, but these leans are gonna chase down a couple Marines all over the place. The first few Roaches are on their way. There's one Queen in the making, ready to inject both of these archeries to support the Roaches with more leans due to the heavy amount of larvae that you don't really need because you're gonna spend mostly Vespene onto Ravagers. Yeah, leans are not gonna have speed, but they're gonna chase Marines around. They're gonna win the fight. Marines are still not the fastest. There's a command center on the high ground, of course, pretty much forced, but at this stage, like, yeah, Byun doesn't know yet. Yeah, now he knows. He sees the Roaches, and this is gonna be a very complicated hold. The Rex are gonna move around, but they're not gonna get on the low ground yet. This one is gonna try to get there, make a tech lab. I don't know about that. It's a reactor at factory to try and get as many Marines out as possible. I would have preferred the tech lab and just start a Cyclone right away, especially since you knew there were going to be Roaches. Now there's not a lot of Ravagers, it's just Roaches, but these Roaches are still gonna be quite a problem for that bunker that not really going up, is it? And honestly, Rogue can just turn Roaches into Ravagers to help them stay alive. Here comes the Biles, the bunker goes down immediately. The wall is definitely not staying up, especially with so many SCVs falling one after the other. The Biles trying to focus down the Marines, forcing them to move around. But it's no bueno. Rogue takes game number 4. No proxy this time, it's Blackburn. Don't proxy on Blackburn. It's a suicide. It's probably gonna be a Reaper first just to try and get some amount of information. The Reaper Caliph is not something you can easily block. SCV also pathed towards the main base of Rogue to double check what is happening. Also, guys, did the lag fix for some impossible reason that I have no clue about? I hope it did. Even though it makes 0 sense. It's gonna be a Reaper first. And Hatch gas pool on the side of Rogue, not going twice in a row for the spawning pool first. No real need to get that here on Blackburn. Byun was kind of unlucky last game as well. But Rogue definitely did his homeworks, knows what Byun likes to play on what maps, and had a very good blind counter. The SCV will get some amount of scouting. We'll get to the third, we'll just wait there for the drone to try and drop down a third archery for the Zerg player. Reaper will also join the field, but there's already a couple lings out. And yes, it's a dance. It sets up the rhythm, but it's never availed to some. Oh my god, have you seen this ling flying, guys? That guy was flying for a while. Oh, one single ling was killed by the Reaper. Yeah. But here comes the Queen, and that's the end of it. We see a little bit of an NG bait block over here on the third base. Rogue could easily just go and take the golden base though, so it's not really the biggest of deals. The golden base is super easy to defend unless they get something done on this side. But even then, it's a little bit of an investment. So yeah, you can see Rogue actually deciding to stay back for the time being, wait for Ling speed to be finished, and then send another drone out. Doesn't want to lose a drone to the Reaper for no reason at all. While on the other side of the map, no early for command center, is just the standard opener. 1-1-1 incoming for Byun. You need a couple more marines before dropping down the tech lab. Or the reactor if he wants to have double reactor stuff, but that's really never the case. He's getting into position to kill these NG Bay almost completed. It's gonna take a while. Well, uncompleted structures do not have a lot of armor, so yeah, it's not really gonna take a while. It's gonna take very little time, to be honest. Here comes the console, just at the right time. Rogue is gonna drop down his third archery, and we're back to a normal standard game. The Reaper will be kind of caught out in the open, will not fall down though. Couple aliens will stop the Reaper from dying. It's gonna be an armory actually behind this, so it is going to be another Hellbat push. You can see the medivacs collecting as many units as possible before flying away. There's a tech lab next to this starport as well. To try and ensure a little bit more follow-up in this kind of build. And it's gonna be Banshee look to be the follow-up actually. With Byun being a supply block, this Banshee is gonna take a while. But the aliens are gonna be dropped down in the main. They're not gonna be turned into Hellbats. Yeah, they're gonna still look for a couple SCVs. They're not turned into Hellbats yet. They're gonna fly away. More Hellions in the makings. This medivac is actually severely bruised. Gonna fly away, but the Queens were getting in position to deal with this. It's Roach Warren incoming, actually, to defend against this. It's pretty good against Hellbat push. But what do we have against the Banshee? Is there a singles protocol? Yes, there are. Alright, alright. The lair is also in the makings. There's 8 Hellbats, 1 medivac, and a Banshee soon to join the field. Scan gets used to kill as much crit teamers as possible. But over here, the Queens are getting into a conclave, stopping these Hellbats from ever getting a good fight. Then we'll decide against diving onto those Queens and will use its Medivac's energy to heal them back to the fullest, waiting for crit spread to actually fall back. Maybe fight afterwards. Another Lord will be killed, will cause actually a supply block for Rogue. I feel like I've said this so many times throughout this series. So many supply blocks for Rogue being caused by Byun. Plus 1 infantry weapon in the making for the Terran player as well. As plus 1 infantry armor as well as steam. Doesn't really look like this Hellbat push will ever do something. But Rogue has been put on his toes. Double Evo chamber dropped down. But there's quite a lot of roaches on the field already. I don't really see these Hellbats doing too much. Any more incoming? Yes, maybe a scan will be used. Another couple crypt teamers will be killed. I don't really see these over dying either. Yeah, roaches might be overstepping a little bit, not waiting for 6 more to spawn. But over here, the Banshee flying into very dangerous territory. One of them is going to immediately fall before dropping down a single shot. And again, beyond Banshee play, doesn't really avail to anything. Hellbats being turned back into aliens to try and get something done, at least in the form of run-by. Byun dealt absolutely 0 damage to Rogue throughout this game. It's not like Rogue is going for a very greedy macro play. It's going for roaches. Roaches are not gonna be any good for a lot of time. But the expense out of Byun to deal some damage is not looking good unless he can snipe so many drones. He gets 5. Which is honestly more than he should have gotten, but it doesn't really matter too much. Rogue is still almost 10. Oh my god, it's 20 workers ahead. But yeah. Over here, of course, the Leans are trying to break down the rocks before these aliens can get anything significant ongoing. Roaches will help them as well. Overall, these bases not up yet will mean that the aliens will definitely not get too much going. Crit tumors will spot them. They will get one crit tumor, but yeah, the Leans are getting into position. Oh, but the Elbots are getting into quite the choke point. Honestly, yeah, that's gonna be a lot of dead drones for no reason at all. 5 more drones falling down to units that Byun will never have found any use for. 6 actually, with the Banshee going into the main. And it's so surprising to me that this Banshee is able to actually get kills. So many queens being out. Byun kind of blindsiding Rogue in multiple locations, killing 9 plus 5 drones. 14 drones down the sink for Rogue after so many perfect defenses. Plus 1 missile, plus 1 carapace is incoming. Second armory was indeed made, and I do feel like it was a mistake. It was just a reflex to get in the end the first armory. But over here there's a lot of Ravagers to defend against this army. The first few volley of vials will not eat anything at all, and the second will also whiff. Will the third one whiff as well? Yes, it will. These Ravagers, absolute zero value in this defense. In the end, they can cut backwards and still deal a lot of damage. Will the tanks fall down? 3 vials means that a single tank will fall, the other tank will be missed by mere inches. And Byun is kind of steaming into the fourth phase of Rogue right now. There's queens to defend over here. These medivacs still have a lot of energy. The roaches are really not cutting it. With one single tank shelling them down. Finally, Ravager Pulse gets some value, killing one single medivac. But it does look like Byun is ready to move out and ready to send in more reinforcements. Here comes the concave out of Rogue. Now that half the army of Byun is out of position, the tank will go down. But over here, a couple drones will go down as well. The queens are off creep. They cannot get much going. Another tank will go down. Another tank will be unsieged over here. But here comes another steam by Byun, trying to get on top of these queens. One single Ravager still trying to bite, and he will hit a single medivac. Yet again, the concave is perfect from Rogue, but it's not like he has a strong army. 9 more roaches incoming, but so is Byun, sending more and more reinforcements in. The Ravager will try to bow down something, but he will whiff this time. And here comes the steam forward. Byun retakes control of the high ground and is ready to siege down his tank. Oh, this archery going down is no bueno for Byun. And it does look like another steam will shoo away the army of the Zer player, meaning that the archery will indeed go down. The tank is in a perfect spot to shell down more and more roaches, trying to be turned into Ravagers. Plus 2 carapaces incoming. Now Rogue has some decent upgrades himself. He's getting a lot of links for this defense. But the army of Byun has been reinforced by the second. Adrenaline Glands is in the making because yes, Rogue had a hype behind this, by the way. But in the end, Rogue was able to actually expand on the top right. Players on even bases, even though Byun has access to a gold base and Rogue doesn't. And honestly, being a 20 supply behind in army, when your army is mostly made of Ravagers, is not a good thing. Over here, Rogue trying to strike back on the other side of the map. Will actually find a way into this middle line. I doubt it's gonna kill a lot of SUVs. The reinforcements were getting into position for Byun. Oh, but over here, Byun actually risking real hard to lose most of his medivacs. Vipers are now on the field. These medivacs need to be very, very careful. The fourth base of Byun is actually incoming, but Rogue wants to strike back, wants to do something. He's gonna trade very good into these 3 medivacs, but the rest of the army of Byun is getting on the high ground. There's 3 tanks ready to siege up, get a counter going. Over here, the Ravagers will try to walk forward. The concave is not perfect for Rogue, but it's not perfect for Byun either. Here goes the piles, and here go the tanks. In the end, there's still not enough army though, and Byun will take game number 5. Again, the same can be said for Rogue. No real need for a 16 pool again. Still gonna be content with his Ashkas pool. Since like rushing distance is 2000 eons, so you can easily get your stuff going without really being afraid of anything. Still looking for proxies is a very good tell. That Rogue wants to be still very careful around Byun. Byun has shown us multiple times he can be super aggressive if the needs arise. In the end, both players really chilling for the time being. We don't see any crazy build out of any of those. And honestly, it will not surprise me to see Byun going for a third command center before StarCraft as well. He's done it twice in this series. It almost always pays you off because he's just so good with his low amount of units. He can just deal with it. Of course, it gets hard countered by a Spire play. But in the end, one link got in the way. Got a full scout, so the 1-1-1. So the Marine first. So the starport in production while the Overlord saw that there's no command center. So basically right now Rogue is on perfect information. He's gonna drop down his third archery. He's probably gonna wait for the aliens to come. But an early steam, so we're not gonna see Banshee look this time. It's just gonna be Viking and probably a Liberator after that, with 4 aliens, maybe 8, trying to take control of the field while Byun is getting those bio upgrades, steam, combat shields, and maybe concussive shells after that. Not gonna be a lot of drops, not for a while. But the aliens are gonna exert as much map pressure and control Byun wants to. It's not like on Burning Ground you can easily stop creep spread. Yes, you can try to juggle around this location over here and this location over here, since queens cannot really keep up and they're just never gonna break these rocks early on. But it's so complicated. There's so little area to walk and work around that you just start denying creep once it gets past those choke points. Well, this creep tumor is a little bit exposed, so in the end it's gonna be an easy snipe. And he's sending more and more Hellions. On the other side of the map, you can see more Rex incoming. Yeah, it's getting to 5 rather quickly. So he wants to go for a timing 100%, but he's not gonna have a lot of medivacs for that. For a while, at least. Yeah, it's just a 5-1-1. There's really nothing weird with it. Very aggressive. Usually see 3 Rex at this stage, not 5. But we know how much Byun likes his Marine plays, so is it surprising? No, not really. Larry incoming from Rogue. The Evo Chambers incoming as well. Need those upgrades to deal with a very crazy amount of production that Byun is gonna put on the field. You can see Byun really not caring about dropping on a third command center. He just wants to go all out for aggression. Super aggressive play. In the hands of a super aggressive player who can really make this work. 2 medivacs incoming to support this army. Of course, Rogue is gonna try to get his 4th base going, and if he manages to defend, he can take some severe losses by this, by the way. If he manages to defend, it's just going to be so complicated for Byun to get control of the game back in his hands. These Banelings are not gonna be fast for quite a while, actually. The Chivilla looks is just halfway through. Lots of crit spread is going to beat the Knight over here. Over here on the high ground, Byun managed to see some links. He knows there's some army over here trying to get him in a sandwich. And the sandwich will happen, and even slow Banelings. Oh my god, mother of connection. That's a wet dream for Xur players. and these lanes are still chasing around. Now the queens are on top of the tanks. This might be GG right here, right now, by the way. This is a crazy defense by Rogue. Almost all of his lanes have died, but he has 28 more in production. Centrifugal Lux is incoming, he's almost finished. And he still has a lot of pain lanes with this. He didn't lose anything. I think he lost a queen? Yes, he lost a queen. Byun is still going at it. He still has such a powerful production. It's gonna add up a third command center, but it's gonna be so much behind in economy for such a long time. Scan will be used to kill a Cryptium, but you can see the Banelings now rolling past everything. The tank will go down. Doesn't really look like Rogue should have walked that far out of creep. The reinforcements caught up with his army, and in the end all of his Banelings died. More Banelings are gonna be produced behind this. A Hydra then is incoming. Queens are transfusing each other back to full health. But there's no more transfuses available. One is almost ready to go. It's almost certainly gonna be dropped down on this one queen. But Byun is going to wait before committing again. His third command center is incoming. There's a Liberator on the way, ready to try and blindside his opponent. A Growth Spines is incoming from Rogue to get some range to those Hydras, to give some support to his Lean Bane composition. Byun still trying to be as aggressive as possible, scanning forward, killing a Cryptumor. The army of Rogue though, going for a surround. He's gonna catch the single tank over there. So many Banelings sacrificing their lives on top of that one single tank. And you can see the Marines being very happy. They didn't have to deal with a single Baneling, and now they are steaming forward. They are killing queens. And what is there for Rogue to defend with? Quite a crucial mistake from the Xur player, sending the Lings on the tank, the Lings on the Marines, and the Banelings on the tank. Usually want the other way around. There's still not a lot of energy on these Medivacs, meaning that in the end, Rogue will push back on top of this ramp and gain back control of his fourth base. But he lost so many queens. He's working with 3 queens out of 4 archeries. That's never what you want. And he needs to use all of his larvae to produce Marines. Byun is still relentlessly sending units in. His production is crazy. He's now starting to saturate this base over here. And he's still steaming on top of the 4th base of Rogue. The Xur player will try to go for a full-on surround, but he will not manage to get the connections he needed. The 2 tanks go down, but it's just 2 Banelings with this army. More are being produced. Will the Hydras be able to kill the Medivacs before they can get too much value? The connections of the Banelings are good enough, but there's still not enough army for Rogue to deal with this. There's not a lot of health on these Marines. 2 more Medivacs chime in to actually heal those Marines back up. A little bit too steam happy they were, that they do not have a lot of health to work with. Still 1 tank with siege up over here, +2/+2 incoming for both players. 20 more Lings and 5 more Banelings in the making. These archeries is such an important piece of defense over here. Many Lings actually going for a counter-attack, trying to catch reinforcements, trying to kill SCVs. But the reinforcements of Byun will easily deal with that, and on the other side of the map, it's not going any better for Rogue. The archery goes down. This is a little bit of a disaster for the Xur player. How many queens does he have now? Still on 3, that's no bueno. He needs to put those in the fight as well. 4 Hydras are in the making to join the rest of the army of Rogue, trying to get yet another counter-attack. It's a little bit of a desperate one, but he needs to go for it. He cannot defend in any shape or form with whatever he has. Byun is kind of retreating, maybe overestimating the amount of firepower this Zerg army has. 11 SCVs going down is nothing to look down upon. That's actually quite significant. +2/+2 kicking in for Byun, with a +2 Carapace already kicked in for Rogue, and +2 melee soon to join in the upgrade list. Now there's more Banelings, there's more Lings, there's more Hydras, and there's not a lot of Medivacs, not healthy one at least. The connections of the Banelings are good enough. Will they be able to get even more? They try to roll down. Byun trying to split his army as much as possible, but in the end, only the Hydras are left standing, and they definitely not win the fight against just the Marines. Starter stepping forward, killing the last few Hydras. 20 more Lings, 2 more Banelings in the making, but Byun is sending more and more in, and it's absolutely destroying the creep spread of Rogue. Still on 3 bases, trying to actually already saturating this base on the right side. Byun is sending more units in. These medivacs have absolutely no energy whatsoever. Only one of them has something to work with. +2/+2, kicking in strong for Byun. Such a key moment, such a key upgrade. The tank is sieged up behind this. This base is the last stand of Rogue. Will he be able to defend it properly? Banelings trying to run forward, a surround with the Lings incoming, trying to catch reinforcements, trying to catch the tanks. And it's a good fight for the Zerg player. Very minimal losses, catching so many key units. And now Rogue is fighting back. So many Lings getting in position with their +2. They're gonna absolutely shred through the tanks. Here comes another steam by Byun, started stepping his Marines forward. Enough energy to keep them up. So back and forth, infestation beating coming. Missile attack for these Hydras. Still no Lurker Den out. +3/+3 in the making for Byun. More and more upgrades joining the field. The Lurker Den is incoming. And there's 2 Liberators to finally try and at least blindside Rogue and kill some workers. A 5th base trying to go up for the Zerg player. But Byun is gonna wait it out. Gonna wait the right moment, wait to have more forces to break through. And try to deal some harassment damage in the meanwhile. Liberators still unscouted so far, Hive in the making. Of course, to get those key Lurker upgrades. Liberators flying in. Oh, and the first is sieging up. Oh, the Hydras are in position, but they cannot attack over here. Oh my goodness. This map is something. No more mining out of this base. The Hydras are getting in position. They're gonna die 9 numbers to deal with the Liberators, but Byun has successfully moved the army of his opponent. Oh my god, so many Lings in his mineral line though. And they will get quite some kills for probably a lot of reinforcements to never join the field over here. Tanks and Liberators alike are gonna stop Rogue from getting a good frontal engagement over there. The Marines are gonna try to steam backwards into a choke point and deal with these Lings. There's so many Lings though. They're fighting alongside the SCVs. And in the end, oh my goodness, so many SCVs falling down over here. Byun steams forward and kills an archery. The price paid is 14 SCVs back home. So here the Lurkers did not manage to get a good sieging spot. Seismic spikes not yet ready. And the Liberators are zoning them quite proficiently. The tanks are sieged up and they will start shelling down the Lurkers before they can do anything significant. Another scan, and here goes the Marines ready to steam forward. That's a little bit of a choke point. They need to wait it out. The Lurkers are still healthy enough to support quite a lot of punishment. There's so many tanks leapfrogging forward. Here comes a scan. The Marines will need to run away for the Banelings, but it's a choke point created by that tank. The Marines will die in very high numbers. And here comes a couple abducts alongside this one parasitic bomb. Yet another parasitic bomb. Both of the Liberators are 100% going down. So does one Queen for no reason at all. Over here on the top right, Byun though is killing yet another archery. Rogue is on 3 bases. That's not what you want to be at. Not what you want to be even on bases with your opponent. He has a strong tech option. He has a lot of Lurkers. He has Vipers on the field. Byun is probably very happy about killing 2 archeries right now. Maybe dropped somewhere. He lost 14 SCVs back home before this. Let's remember about that. He's on 35 workers, which is not a lot. Oh no. Oh, these Rambas have been absolutely crazy, by the way. Rogue killed so many SCVs throughout this game. Oh my god, 41? Oh my. That's a lot of that SCVs. You can see 27 against 64, less than half the economy of his opponent right now. You can see the red arrows pointing strongly in favor of Rogue. as far as income goes, but it's not like the Zerg players that's crazy strong army. It's a very static one. The lurkers are gonna be super good if it comes to only marines. But if Byun gets back on track, once Ghosts and more tanks and more liberators are gonna be a part of the equation, these lurkers are gonna lose value. Right now, they're so valuable though. It's almost impossible for Byun to deal any more economical damage. And back home, his economy is just non-existent. A little bit of posturing, one medivac. Gonna try and get something done. Yeah, it will definitely not do that. Abduct, a little bit out of range, so not gonna be a snipe. Tanks are moving forward. These medivacs are still super bruised. It's gonna be 3 tanks and a bunch of marines with this. The army of Rogue is much stronger, but it's still going to be all about positioning. The lurkers are fully upgraded now. They can easily dive the army of Byun if he desires to. And Byun is kind of looking for a little bit of a doom drop, it seems. Having these many units in medivacs against Vipers is not really advised, but you can see that the Marines are not really going to be split with this. In the end, the lurkers are gonna be in a very good spot. The Painlings are gonna get such a good fight, and the Abducts are absolutely out of this world. Rogue gets the equalizer, and it's gonna be game number 7. Beautiful play by Rogue, defending so good in so many stages and just handling the storm while dealing so much counter-attack damage on the other side. Huh? Alright, getting control of the watchtower, checking stuff, and just sending a drone to the gold base, because yes, it's a gold base. Or maybe just checking for proxies? Of course it's checking for proxies. Sparing a drone? I guess Rogue just wants to be super careful. It's something you do on 2000 atmospheres just because attacking on 3 or 4 bases is absolutely insanity. But on Predal Altarius is a little bit easier, to be fair. So you want to get your stuff going a little bit earlier. And of course, keeping the drone there to take the golden, it's risky, but it can pay off immensely if you're able to just spread a lot of creep and defend it. I'm gonna need some marine first. I'm gonna see a Reaper on this insanely long map. Even though the Reaper Cliff is actually so wide, so it's very easy for the Reaper to move around. And it's not like the Natural is big enough to trap it. One of them will sit on the pillar next to the golden base. Maybe waiting for Byun to get greedy. Waiting for the right moment to scout into the main base instead. A couple lanes moving out as well to try and get some more information. But Byun is not going for anything crazy, and so is Rogue. There's a ramp, but it's a wide one. The lane will get past. We'll see what is happening. And we'll actually get in. Seeing the starport in production before being killed by one single marine. Not seeing the tech lab, this is most likely going to be Banshee Cloak again, with the Hellions being so good in these long maps at getting control, especially since it's so easy for them to get on the high ground. It's so complicated for Rogue to play around these choke points, multiple choke points on the high ground of Predal Altarius. A little bit like, how was it called that map? Golden something? Not Golden Wall. A map similar to this that we had for ages in the pool. I don't really remember what was it called. It was basically 2000 atmospheres of that map pool. Oh gosh, I don't remember the name. maybe a Viking, so my guess was kind of wrong. It's a reactor as starport, there's not gonna be any Banshee Cook. And again, Byun is going super aggressively. Well, not really, it's just a free rocks. Not really super aggressive, it's just going fast into Steam. While Rogue stopped his Lurker Rush altogether, is now getting Binley Nest every single game. Which is it's a very good thing for him, let's be honest. Ling will get some scouting, we'll see no third base yet. We'll know that this is probably a 3-1-1. Oh, well, where are the other 2 reds? Alright, it's a 5-1-1 on 2 bases, again. First time didn't really pay off for Byun, he did deal so much damage, but he wasn't just able to do the small inch forward he needed to make to actually end the game, and Rogue just, from that point onwards, just handled the storm perfectly. Even after losing 2 archeries for a 3 archery total, he was still able to make it up. And right now with the Viking chucking around for overloads, it's interesting to see Rogue supply block the can. He's dropping down the double Evo chamber, he has a lair incoming. Oh, this Viking is still going at it, by the way. That'll be the 3rd overload he kills. It's honestly a little bit too much. Especially with Queens being there in position. The Viking will go down, but he killed 3 overloads, he's very happy about it. It's 3 larvae and 300 minerals worth of units that actually do nothing. So Rogue is basically on a 600 minerals do nothing. Which is not really what you want. Alright, Byun moving out. He has control of the watchtower, so his tanks can really get into position. But over here on the right side, Rogue already getting his counter on the map. He's gonna strike over here. The wall is down. He's gonna get past it. He's gonna kill a tank and maybe kill a couple of SCVs as well. While he's at it, tanks are gonna siege up over here on the low ground. The medevac's granting a little bit of vision, but the spore crawlers and queens stopping them from actually getting too close. The spore crawlers need to die before Byun can get anything too significant. Crypt Tumors are dying one after the other. The Crypt Tumors will indeed go down. And so will one of the spore crawlers. Byun leapfrogging his tanks. But Rogue is moving his army around, this time not for a counter, but for a full surround. The watchtower control is so important for Byun to react on time. And will these Banelings be able? The splits are not crazy good for Byun, but this one single tank is still going at it. There's so many queens on the field out there for Rogue, so it does mean that Byun doesn't really have a way to push through them. But creep spread has been slowed down significantly, and Rogue is not really left with such a strong army. It's still a good enough army to deal with the army of Byun, and Byun's economy is not really that great. But it's not like this stops the pressure out of Byun completely. The Lings are gonna fall down before they can really even get a connection. But over here the Lings are gonna try to get control of the watchtower, trying to get at least some of the reinforcements out of the way for Byun. Gonna kill a couple marines, but it does look like Byun is being a little bit extra careful about this and wait for more of his army to join the field before moving forward. Steaming over here to kill a couple quick tumors, always good. Rogue Vision is basically locked onto the high ground with just a couple Lings sharking around. Control of the watchtower firmly in his hands with one tank sieged up. But Rogue doesn't really care, he wants to go around it. He's dropping down his 4th base, which is going to be saturated very soon, and he has Purr incoming. +2/+2 is also on the way for Rogue, really stepping up in this final side, final part of the series. Yes, splits and focus fire out of Byun were not looking crazy good throughout this series. He lost way too many marines to Banelings, but he still has one shot to make up for it on this game. So Liberators joining the army as well, trying to defend the tanks from the high amount of Ling Bane that Rogue is putting down on the field. 15 more Banelings, 10 more Lings, +2/+2 almost completed as well. And the whole army of Rogue is actually going to get us around. The tanks are not sieged. What a dangerous position that Byun has found himself in. The tanks will be caught out. The Marines will be left only to be caught up. And this is how you deal with an aggressive Terran, people. Rogue will get the series in game number 7.